So we had a wonderful experience with two very, very sweet people who came to visit from California.
Old friends we hadn't seen for years and just love them to death.
Yeah, and they're such good people. And what came up for me, of course, being so interested in health, was I could see that they were going down the road that maybe there were difficulties ahead if change wasn't made. And of course, I'm sure I annoyed them by telling them my point of view, but it was fun to share. And what I love so much about life is it always is giving me the opportunity to go deeper, to see more deeply what truth might be. And what came up for me was when we don't see that we may have a health condition ahead, what reason in the world would we have to change the way we're eating? We wouldn't. We'd just follow the old way that we enjoyed. So what came up was, well, one way we could have a pretty good idea of what might be ahead for us if we don't have a health condition is to look at our genetics, to look at the family history that we may be able to see quite clearly has some caution signs blinking in the distance. And it isn't that those genes need to express, they don't. If we especially will choose whole food plant-based eating. But I thought, that's a nice thing to recognize that there is sign or a banner that's always available for us, even if we're not experiencing health problems, that points to what may happen. And that can give us a reason to really choose to eat whole food plant-based and to learn about it and to explore it and to see what the benefits are for that blinking sign ahead.
I think what you're pointing at is how they sometimes describe our genetics. It's like our genetics load the gun, but it's our lifestyle that pulls the trigger.
Exactly.
So if there are family members who are having health conditions, it might mean we have similar genes. So the gun might be loaded.
Yeah.
But is there something that we can do to avoid having the trigger pulled?
Yeah, and it's so simple and so delicious. It just takes a bit of adapting and a bit of time for that adapting to take place if we just choose to eat whole food plant-based. And another deeper reason we can look at is what is the greatest good we can deliver to the planet itself, to the well-being of all mankind and all living creatures on this earth. And they're making the point again and again that if we eat whole food plant-based, that can really change the health of this planet. And it's so important to change as we see all these wildfires that get greater and greater each year, and the extreme temperature changes that we're all experiencing. Yeah, we have the opportunity. Life is giving us a chance to really look at, well, how can I best serve the planet and humanity as a whole? Is there something I can do with my eating that will make a difference? And there is. That's the good news.
Yeah, I guess what you're doing, you're taking it from the individual. Let's look at how can we benefit ourselves the most, and the far-reaching impact that can have, because you're pointing to the impact of how we eat influencing climate change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is a lot of research that's kind of pointing to the fact that a lot of these greenhouse gases that seem to be contributing a great deal to the changes that we're seeing are produced by animal agriculture, you might call it, because they're taking out the rainforests, which we're helping to actually create more oxygen and not so much CO2, then we're putting in animals, and they're showing all the gases that come out of an animal while it's alive. And it's then in the feeder lots, all of the gases that come out of all the poop that's in the feeder. I mean, it's significant. It's significant. So yeah, there's some real far-reaching impact from going with a whole food plant-based diet.
Yeah, and the great water use that's required for
Yeah,
animal agriculture and the land use that's required that could be used for growing those plants.
yeah.
That would be so good for everyone.
I think they've shown how I think it takes 10 pounds of grain to produce 1 pound of beef. So if you're feeding or whatever animal, if you're feeding your hogs corn or if you're graining your cattle or whatever, you're having to grow 10 pounds of food on land somewhere to produce 1 pound of food where these animals are somewhere. So it uses a lot of land, it uses a lot of water, and it uses a lot of resource. So I mean that 10 pounds of food that the animal ate, how many people would that feed?
Yeah.
As opposed to
Yeah.
1 pound of meat. Yeah. So a lot of considerations.
Yes, a lot of considerations. And we have the opportunity to really up our health level in North America, which is so needed, by making a very simple change to whole food plant-based. And if you want to make that change, you have the least little inkling of, well, maybe I should try this. Please email us in the comments section below if you would like any help. We're just creating a free program that will help people get started eating whole food plant-based, that we'd be happy to email you. It probably won't be ready until around the 20th of this month, but then it will. So yeah, we'd love to see you experience the delight that comes from eating in a way that makes the body thrive.
Yeah, it sure made a difference in my life. I'm sure happy with where I'm at.
Yeah, me too. So recipe.
Yeah.
The recipe is something we made yesterday, which was so great. And it's a Szechuan coleslaw that uses peanut butter as part of the dressing, lime, and some hot peppers and cilantro.
Keep it Szechuan.
Yeah, it's really good. And also, what's so great about it, it uses whole grain and beans. So you have a really complete meal and a big salad, which I love.
Yeah, I know. Normally, don't think of coleslaw as being a filling meal, but with the grain and the beans, it's very satisfying and filling.
Yeah. Okay, so you get a chance to reflect now. Look at the history of your family and see if there isn't a blinking sign that's saying it's time for you to try whole food plant-based.
Thanks for joining us. See you next week.